I'm shy, go talk to the girl. Okay, if you actually walk up and talk to her, then you're not shy. You've spoken your confidence into existence. So yeah, and a lot of people won't ever do that, and I have no help for them. What could I possibly tell them that's going to fix them? Nothing. But you're going to be lonely and you're going to be broke if you stay that way.
You have to almost look in the mirror and just tell yourself that you are the man.
Yeah.
And you have to believe you are the person that you want to be.
Absolutely.
And just by thinking that, then you feel as though whatever situation you're in, that you're supposed to be in the situation.
The person I want to be wakes up at 7 and he trains for 2 hours. The person I want to be wouldn't let that pretty girl walk past him without introducing himself and saying hello. The person I want, so okay, good. So you're going to wake up and lay in bed and then not talk to the pretty girl. Then you'll never be the person you want to be. Mm-hmm. Simple.
Listen to me very carefully, because it's going to sound like something stupid, but this is actually true. Your hands are controlled by your brain. If you can't stop fucking drinking, jerking off, watching porn, and typing Pornhub into your little keyboard, that is nobody's fault but yours. There's no such thing as weak will. Your hands are controlled by your brain. Use your brain and control your fucking hands.
For men, I think pornography and masturbation are one of the worst habits that there are, because look, it's one, I'm a very ambitious guy. I don't do either of those things. I know you're going to say, oh, I've never met a man who said that. I don't do either of those things, but I basically fuck every night, so I don't really need to. But it's a very bad habit for men because it does two things. One, it takes their energy and their hunger and their desire away from actually being nice enough to women to get women to sleep with them. So if you can watch anything you want and jerk off at your computer every single day, you're not gonna buy flowers and take a woman out on a romantic date. It puts weird, it sets men up psychologically in a very strange way, where they don't have realistic expectations from sex and from women. And you have this whole community of people who call them incels, involuntarily celibates. One of the fallouts from my industry that's leaked its way into the real world, and I feel very guilty for, and this is a very basic example when I say pornography teaches men the wrong way of dealing with women, is the unsolicited Now, that comes from a world where, so my world, where I have all these models broadcasting online, guys get their dick out on camera or show their picture or text girls their dick, Snapchat girls, whatever it is. And the girls who work for me always reply positively. Oh, wow, that's hot, because they're getting paid money. They're getting paid $5 a minute to listen to these idiots.
Yeah.
So it programs these guys' minds where they'll see, and I'm sure you get it, they'll see your Instagram and they'll think, oh my God, she's hot. How can I impress her? I know. Snap. Like, no woman wants to see that. No woman wants it. Like, the girls literally get the pictures and they type, oh, that's hot. And they'll be like literally.
Yeah.
I don't watch porn because, one, I don't need to, and two, I produce adult content. That's my business. So I'm like a cocaine dealer who sees all the negative effects his cocaine does to other people and doesn't sniff the cocaine himself. So it was really my business decisions that led me away from ever consuming this kind of product. But I do think it is a red flag if you have a boyfriend and you are sexually active, especially if you live with him or live close to him, for him to be watching porn. I really do think that it's damaging to a relationship. But live chat websites are a red flag you should absolutely walk away from immediately, because you don't know what goes on there. I do. It's not just paying the girl to see her naked. It really isn't. It's a lot of emotional attachment. If they want naked women, they can Google images of naked women any time of any day. It's the interaction that they're paying for, and they're paying a lot of money for it. I'm a very wealthy man. All of my money came from this industry. And it's not old men, it's not old creepy guys on the internet, it's men who you know, men who you've dated, men who you work with. Believe me, it is an absolutely massive industry. It's why that guy on Your News, which news channel in the States, where that guy, he ended a Zoom meeting and then started dropping his pants and getting his dick out very recently. But you just used the sentence you just used was, I'd rather him do it and I know about it than for him to do it behind my back and to live in a fantasy land. So does that apply only to guys watching porn and jerking off on the internet, which I think is lame? Or does that apply to something he's doing in the real world? Does that apply to him, I don't know, let's say not cheating, but he's out with his friends, there are some pretty girls, his friends are single, going and hanging out with women he doesn't know, trying to help his friends out, being a wingman. Well, it's not about worried. I have had wonderful girlfriends in the past who I trust very much. I do not allow my girlfriends to have guy friends. I don't allow them to. And they have to choose if they want to be with me or if they want to keep their guy friends. And that's a line that I draw. Well, there's no, you have to understand, there is no platonic friendship in a man's mind with an attractive woman. You may think there is. So you may, and this is an experiment I've pulled with, so I encourage you to do the same if you ever feel brave enough and you feel like losing some of your guy friends. It's an experiment that I pulled with many girls who said, oh, this guy, no, I've known him since I was 15. He's like my brother. I said, no, he's not like your brother. To you, he's like a brother. Give him this much opportunity and he will jump at it. And they're like, no, I mean, you know this. But younger girls, they don't know this. They're young and naive. They're like, no, really, he doesn't like me. He has a girlfriend, actually, as if that justifies it. And I should let her hang out with this dude. So I say, okay, let me send him one message from your phone. Just one. And I said the typical, you know, that Tristan's been treating me badly and you're the guy who's always been there for me. Do you ever have some kind of interest? And it's always, oh my God, I love you. I was waiting for this message. And then they can't talk to him anymore. So I don't let them have guy friends because I would if the guy was actually their friend. So if a girlfriend of mine has a gay friend, cool, go out with your gay friend. He doesn't want, he's not gonna try to fuck you. That's cool. Yeah, that's a guy friend because he's actually your friend. There's no such thing as guy friends. Don't even pretend that you don't know this because I saw you smiling when I was saying it. You give this much opportunity to any of your guy friends. The sad fact of the world that we live in is not everybody plays by the rules of society. And the fact of the matter is, a friend is somebody you can trust. I can trust my friends. If I'm out with my friends and one of my friends, say, gets too fucked up drunk, I'll carry his dumb ass home. I'll shout at him the next morning. But I mean, we don't really do that kind of, well, when I was younger, we used to get fucked up drunk, I guess. Yeah. You know, a friend is someone you can trust. Can you get blackout drunk at your guy friend's house and pass out? I mean, you should be able to, but he's not really your friend if you can't trust him. So you shouldn't get yourself, you can't put yourself into any situation with somebody you can't trust. And that's why I don't allow girlfriends of mine to have guy friends. So I know in America, to American women, it sounds strange, but my logic at least is solid. You can't fault my logic. To be perfectly honest, I am never, ever wholly, fully single. I don't think many people in the world are, if you ask them the question. I mean, there are women who you'll meet and they'll say, yeah, I'm single, but they're still meeting up with their ex-boyfriend, or, you know, they have a guy who they're sleeping with, they have a friend with benefits, whatever you want to call them. I don't think very many people are ever truly, truly single when they say that they are. So I'm, to be honest, I haven't been single since I was 17, 18 in terms of without female companionship if I want it. I don't have a serious girlfriend, I guess, like I've had in the past, but I'm single enough. It depends. Are you asking? Yeah, no, I mean, it's not. And I'm very capable of commitment, but I'm going to warn you about something. I'm going to warn you about the most dangerous type of man out there. And I guess I shouldn't really be saying this because girls I know are probably going to see this, and that's just the way it is. They can leave me. I'll find new ones. But there's a type of man that's the most dangerous type of man in the world, and you need to look out for them. And they are men like me, and I'm going to tell you why. Ever since I was a kid, and it starts slow, but believe me, there's a point to this. I have spent almost every day with my brother. My brother is 1 year older than me. We were poor together. We were training. We were kickboxers together. We are all the businesses that we own are together. He lives here in this house. We share our houses. We share our car collection. Every minute of every day, I'm with my brother. You see, a lot of men walk through this world looking for companionship, and they are the guys who can be the more committed, the more monogamous, let's say, for all intents and purposes, better boyfriends by, I guess, somebody like your standards. Whereas me, I don't need companionship. That's not what I don't have anything inside of me that wants to find another person to be around with and hang around with. If I want to go see a movie, I'll talk to Andrew. If I ever want to talk about politics, talk to Andrew. Anything I want to do, go driving, talk to Andrew. I don't need women around me. So women have become very much a hobby of mine because I enjoy female company. And I actually, and I see a lot of this on Twitter and on the internet, I love women. I hate men who hate women, and I hate men who talk disrespectfully about women. You know, the guys even the guys who pretend they live like me, they don't. But the guys who pretend they live like me are like, oh, women are only good for one thing. No, they're not. Women are amazing. Women are wonderful. If you're sick, you want your fucking friends taking care of you? No, you want your woman taking care of you. You're laying in bed at night, you want to hug your friends? No, of course you don't. You want to hug your woman. Women are wonderful, but they've become very much a hobby of mine because I don't need companionship and I'm not seeking that like a lot of people. So if you meet men like me, look for that. That I guess would be but it's not that you know, there's nothing wrong with you when you feel that way when you're single. Human beings, we're social animals at the end of the day, you know. No one is truly happy when you, I mean, we lock people in little rooms by themselves as punishment. And there's a reason that's a punishment and not, you know, and not a reward. It's we are social creatures, and it's very it's very normal to feel like you need somebody around you, and it's very normal to feel that way when you're single. But I never feel that way. So sometimes I meet women. I honest to God, I meet women who'll say stupid things to me like, "Oh, you're 30 something and you still live with your brother." I'm like, one, I don't live with my brother. Me and my brother live together. One, two, what the fuck? Why else would I not live with? What am I gonna do? Buy a house down the street? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
That is true.
Exactly. I mean, I've got 7 bedrooms. It's not like we're fighting for space. Though I think that this way, the European way, is superior, and I'll tell you who I learned it from. I learned it from the Pakistani community in England. There's a huge Muslim Pakistani community, especially in my hometown, and so a lot of them were my friends, my training partners, guys I knew. And one of them was a lawyer who made about £50,000 a year, not rich by any standard, but he had a Ferrari. So I remember being about 17, 18, me and my brother, we were still living together, but through necessity, because we rented one tiny apartment together. And we said to this guy, how do you have a $200,000 Ferrari when you're making £50,000 a year? And he said, well, it's very simple. We're Sikhs. No, they weren't Pakistani Muslims. Sorry, they were Sikhs from India. My bad, I remember now. But similar kind of cultural values. He said, so I'm a Sikh. So what I did was, when I got married, my wife came and moved into my house, and now we have a 12-bedroom house, and my parents still live there because it's their house, and all my brothers live together, and we pool all of our resources. And he said, you white people, he was talking about Europeans, I'm mixed race, as I said, but he said, you white people, you're crazy because if you had 5 brothers, you'd all move out of your family house and pay 5 different rents to people like me who own the property, and you divide your money and you pay 5 different sets of bills and 5 different sets of costs. So they had a Ferrari in a 12-bedroom house, and they all lived together. And I just thought, is that really so insane? I didn't think it was. And me and my brother, I wish I had more brothers, but there's only 2 of us. And in fact, my cousin lives with us now. I flew him over from Romania, from California. He's an American. He lives with us now, and he works with us and works for us. And it's not necessarily, and this is going to sound very cliche, I don't have a type. Tall, short, blonde, brunette. That's not what really does it for me. I like women that are pleasant to be around. So within the first 5 minutes, how often is she smiling? It's not so much about her smile, it's about her attitude, her demeanor. You know, does she have a screw face? Is she talking rude to the waiter? Does she say please and thank you to people? That's the first thing that I notice. Depending on what I'm looking for, I'll be perfectly honest, sometimes I'm not looking for a relationship, in which case I don't care very much as to whether she's, polite to the waiter, because I won't see her very many times after that weekend. But it all depends on my intentions with the girl. But yeah, how pleasant is she? How happy is she? That's what I like, because I like happiness around me. I like happy, positive people around me. Yeah. I don't know. In my opinion, I think the American way is a little bit, it is too late for women. And I'll be perfectly honest. I think it is too late for women in the United States. I meet women here who are, 19, 20, and I say, oh, what do you want to do with your life? And they'll say something that American women detest. They'll be like, oh, I want to get married and have children, which I think is a beautiful, wonderful goal for life for young women to want to be. If they want to get married and have a beautiful family, I don't see anything wrong with that. Whereas when I speak to people like my sister, who never left the United States, she's your age, lives in America. She's they're older than I'm a little bit older than you. I think she's a lawyer, actually. There are all these great, let's call them career women, who've had their careers. I saw on your Facebook you're a big fan of that Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I don't dislike her. Good for her. Amazing woman. Did very well. Broke a lot of glass ceiling. But anyway, my point is this. I was recently at my grandmother's birthday. She was in Alabama. She was 90 years old. This was 1 year ago. She was turning 90, so I flew all the way from Romania, changed in London to Atlanta, and I rented a car and drove all the way to some redneck town in the middle of Alabama to see my grandma. She hadn't seen me in like 10 years. So when I got there, so typically in the United States, this whole let's get married at 30 and have kids after our career, this is new. This wasn't the United States of the 1940s, and 60s. It really wasn't. So my grandmother, I was standing around this room. She had 9 kids, about 30 grandkids, and another 15 great-grandkids, and 1 or 2 great-great-grandkids in this massive room full of people.
Wow.
And I was standing around and everyone was, hugging her and telling stories about her and telling all these beautiful things. And I thought, this is, to me, that's a woman's life fulfilled, more so than a woman who, worked in this career or that career. I don't even know what job my grandma ever did. I don't even know what career she ever had, but there were no mentions of it come the end of her life when we were in that big room full of people. She was just looking around at all the life that she created, and she had the biggest smile on her face I can ever remember seeing any woman have. And I treat women very nicely, so that's a very big that's a very big compliment. So I think that this idea, certainly in the minds of Western women, and you are, for all intents and purposes, an American woman. I just don't think it's that beneficial to women or men or to anything or anybody. It does, but I don't see how a woman on her deathbed, instead of being surrounded by ghosts of herself talking nonsense, I don't understand why a woman on her deathbed surrounded by 50 people who she directly created could be upset and think, oh well, this was a poor choice. I don't understand in a million years how she could think that was a bad idea, regardless of what career she worked or wanted to do, or what do I want out of life. I have everything that I always wanted in life, and I'm very true to myself, and I'm very honest. And because this isn't a date, I don't have to sugarcoat anything or hide anything. I think if you ask every man in the world, every single one, when we were about 10 years old or 11 years old, how do you want to live when you're in your late 20s, early 30s? Like in 20 years time, where do you want to be? They'd all say the same thing. They'd say, I want a giant house, I want lots of pretty women, I want to drive around in fast cars. That's what they would say. Now, I find a lot of men in the positions of a lot of men who attack people like me for living my lifestyle. I find their position wholly dishonest, because they've had the dream that they did have as a young boy. Every single young boy had the exact same dream. They've had this dream beaten out of them by bad relationships, lack of ambition, working their crappy job, getting fat, whatever it is they've done in their life that has shrunk the possibility of this dream happening for them. They then internalize that anger and they burst it out at people like me. Oh, Tristan, yeah, you're living such a superficial lifestyle and you shouldn't be living that way. It's like they would if they could. Yeah. So I'm one of the most fulfilled, happy people on the planet. Because, when I was, as I said, I don't come from money. Me and my brother used to live in a homeless shelter in England. Very long story, when we were very young. To come from absolutely nothing and to be living the way I live is incredible. And I wake up every day and I can't believe it. So I have everything I want from life. The only thing I want next is some children, of course. Now, I don't know whether to, I know some really, really nice girls. I don't know whether to, let's call it, settle down and have a bunch of kids, or I don't know if I should just have 5 or 6 different kids from 5 or 6 different women and just have 25, 30 children, an amount that most men shouldn't have in their lives, which sounds nuts. But let me stop you for a second. You are from the United States. I'm from the United States. I know the American attitude. If you had a overweight woman living on the welfare who had 5 different kids by 4 different men, and she was on some talk show, I don't know what you still have over there, Maury Povich, whatever. Yeah. And she was saying, oh, it's so hard, I'm raising these kids by myself. Everyone would be clapping, saying you're such a hero. Well done to you for having all these kids with a bunch of different men. If a multi-millionaire, very successful individual, who pays for his kids, who pays his child support, who pays the private school, who looks after everyone, says, oh, I want to have, 4 or 5 different kids by, 4 or 5 different women and just have a bunch of different families because I can't have as many kids as I want with one woman, suddenly I'm a villain. I'm the worst man in the universe, and everyone will point the finger at me saying, oh, this guy's a misogynist, this guy's a pig, this guy's an animal. I don't understand why one's a hero and one's a bad guy. And I don't really care, because if I want to do it that way, I'll do it anyway. And I won't mind what society has to say. Yeah, and men are animals. And the secret truth of it is, for those men who don't live honestly like me, there's a whole universe of dishonesty that women never even get to see. They may catch their guy cheating once, or they may catch their guy cheating twice, but the infrastructure and the network behind it is so crazy. So you don't know how I made my money. So I'm just going to tell the world. I made my money running what is called webcam studios. So I had hundreds and hundreds of beautiful women who worked for me who would flirt and strip and have virtual dates with people on the internet, idiots on the internet, literally. And all of my customers are American. All of them are from Western Europe, England, Germany, America, all of them, every single one. And these people will sit on camera to a beautiful girl who isn't even naked most of the time, crying their eyes out, saying how much they hate their wife and they hate their kids and they hate their life. Now, no, I'm telling you so. Listen, at $5 a minute, they're complaining about how much they hate their wife, and they may hang up the phone at the end of the night and go upstairs and go to their sexless marriage bed. They may do that, and people will call them loyal. They'll call them monogamous and faithful. I'm sorry, that is not faithful at all. Giving away the family's money to businessmen like me to buy Lamborghinis with, when you have kids who need you, when you have a wife who needs you, that's not monogamy in the slightest. And the infrastructure behind it is crazy. So if you had a overweight woman living on the welfare who had 5 different kids by 4 different men, and she was on some talk show, I don't know what you still have over there, Maury Povich, whatever. Yeah. And she was saying, oh, it's so hard, I'm raising these kids by myself. Everyone would be clapping, saying you're such a hero. Well done to you for having all these kids with a bunch of different men. If a multi-millionaire, very successful individual who pays for his kids, who pays his child support, who pays the private school, who looks after everyone, says, oh, I want to have, 4 or 5 different kids by, 4 or 5 different women and just have a bunch of different families because I can't have as many kids as I want with one woman. Suddenly I'm a villain. I'm the worst man in the universe, and everyone will point the finger at me saying, oh, this guy's a misogynist. Okay, well, like you said about people saying this person thinks he's that, or this girl thinks she's that, I completely understand it, because what you have to understand is in your world, my world, in all the Instagrams across the globe, there are lots of people who are, let's say, pretenders, who do try to live a certain lifestyle. I try to be very authentic. I'm not one of these people who pretends that he's a billionaire, but I do have a very nice collection of cars. I am a self-made man. I do very well for myself. And I treat Instagram and social media, and this actually gives me problems when dating and actually meeting nice girls, let's say, as in the 1600s when a king used to paint a portrait of himself. He wouldn't just paint a picture of his face, he'd paint a Bible into his hand to show that he was pious, or paint a hammer into his hand to show that he was tough on justice. That's how I see Instagram and social media these days. You could show your real self, but only the parts of yourself that you wish to display to the world. So it does sometimes give off this playboy, daddy's money kind of guy. I get quite a lot, despite the fact that that's complete.
Yeah, the advice is very simple. I have the perfect piece of advice for them. It's have fun staying poor. Have fun staying poor. You're never going to make it. I don't care. Because if you can't look at your Instagram and think, you know what, maybe I should get into shape. If you can't look at my Instagram and think, you know what, maybe I should make some money. And you literally, with all the inspiration shoved in your face nowadays, I mean, you're sitting in this luxury apartment in Dubai.
The new Bearskin Hoodie 4.0 claims to be the most advanced, waterproof tactical hoodie.
She's rude to the waiter. I can't stand that. I used to be a waiter. Mm-hmm. She's rude to
slaving away and making all this money. If I have enough money to live, I just want to spend time with my family and relax and raise my kids. I'm like, imagine how much time you could spend with your family and how much time you could spend with your kids if you had $100 million.
And you give them the best life.
Yeah, so money does make everything better, but no, it isn't everyone's purpose. I get people who want to live in a small cabin by, in the woods and fish for their food and just, live without headache and, have a wife and have their kids and just live off the land. Yeah, I completely get that. I completely get that. I'm not going to walk up to the Bedouin people in the UAE and say, you need to make more money, bro, because they're very happy, content people. Yeah. They've got their wives, they've got their kids, they've got their lifestyle, they've got their way of living, and it's very wholesome and it's very nice, and they feel richer than a lot of people here in the West.
What people need to understand is 90% of the time, or 99% of the time, women have decided whether they're going to have sex with you before the date. They really have.
Whether their legs are shaved.
Exactly. Exactly. So you spoke to her. She finds you charming. She'll think, there's a possibility I'm going to fuck this guy tonight. She'll put on her best lingerie. Like she said, shave your legs, get ready. And if she's got ready, you have a very, very good chance of having sex. But there are some times where I've been talking to a girl for maybe a month, and we have our second date or first date. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this one's in the bag. And it gets to 11 o'clock, and she's like, you know what? I'm going to have to get up early tomorrow. I should really get a taxi home. I'm the least pushy man. There's nothing attractive about being pushy, because you don't understand her. Maybe she's on her period. and she doesn't want to have sex with you. Maybe it's vulgar to a lot of guys listening, or you don't want to hear, but maybe she's on her period. It's that time of the month, and she thinks, you know what, I'd love to fuck Tristan, but I'm just not going to do that tonight in his house. I'd be embarrassed. I'd be ashamed. Me being pushy is just going to undo the month of hard work that I've done being charming and being nice and being kind, because I'm not getting laid. So first circumstance, you don't go home with her. Yeah, always be a gentleman. Right. Don't worry, let me get you a taxi home, because why would you burn the hard work you've done and not bother setting up a second date? But it's not just that. I would just rather hard. You got bags under your eyes. You're letting yourself go a bit, and you have to keep yourself in check. You have to stay at the very top. And if you don't stay at your very top, you're not competitive anymore. Every single species on the whole planet is exactly the same. Every single female of every single species looks at the most competitive males and thinks, those are the ones I want to have my children. And women, human women, are exactly the same. So if you're not having the success with women that you want, don't go out there trying to blame women, and don't go out there trying to change women. There are these big movements.
They're not trying to change.
Yeah, they're trying to change women.
22-year-old guys watching this. How can I get better in fashion? What tips could you give them?
Oh, there's one tip. There's one tip that overrules absolutely everything. Be in shape. The person who makes my suits, the same person who makes the suits of King Charles of England. Now, I have nothing bad really to say about King Charles, but he looks worse in his suits than I look in my suits. They're made by the same people. Why? Because I'm in good shape. A suit is all about how it fits you. Mm-hmm. It's not about, I have to be Tristan Tate, I'm going to go to Savile Row in London and I'm going to buy a $10,000 suit. No, get into good shape, buy a Hugo Boss suit, for a couple $100, maybe $1,000, you could put one together. Have your mother, have someone with a sewing machine, taper it in a little bit at the sides, make sure that the leg is the exact right length. But if you are shaped like a man in good shape, the suit's going to look good on you. There's no way you can be obese, lazy, out of shape individual and go to my tailor and come out of my tailor shop, regardless of how much you spend, looking like me. Be in shape is the number one fashion advice I give to anyone. It's the old Versace t-shirt, on a big fat guy versus just a plain $5 t-shirt on a guy who's in decent shape. That's my advice to young men. Be in good shape and buy clothes that fit you. That overrules absolutely every single fashion rule that anyone could give.
It's very interesting to think that the first man ever banned from discussion in UK public schools is Andrew Tate. Adolf Hitler, you were allowed to talk about him during World War II and after World War II. The leader of Argentina during the Falklands War, Osama bin Laden after 9/11. Terrorists, school shooters, the 7/7 bombers who attacked the subway in London. You were allowed to discuss all these people in school. The first man ever to be banned is a mixed race, a half-black kid from the projects who came up out of the projects and became a multi-millionaire. Maybe they just want the working class to stay the working class. Maybe they don't want people like him opening his mouth. Maybe it's because he joked that men are better drivers than women, and he's a misogynist. I don't think it's the third option. I think it's either option one or option two. I think he's dangerous to what people want to purport on the society.
I'm not really one to feel sorry for people that much. Because of the way that the internet has changed the world, I believe that people have positive role models and examples thrown in their face all the time. I feel like to sit back and say, oh, well, I have friends where if I hung around with them every day, I would not be in the position that I am in. I've certainly had women in relationships where if I did whatever she wanted, I would not be where I am today. Even little things. Sometimes you wake up at 7 a.m., you want to be in the gym by 8. She starts, reaching down your pants and stuff. It's just like, sometimes just get up, say no, hit the gym, have your shower, tell her you'll see her tonight and get to work. As opposed to, okay, all right, fine. One more round, then it's 8 o'clock, then a little nap, then it's 10, then it's, oh, do you want breakfast? Oh yeah, I'd love it if you make me breakfast. Then it's 11, nothing productive has happened. Exactly. You have to be the man in your relationship. And if you're the man, you do what needs to be done, not necessarily what you want to do. So I'm not saying you have to break up with your girlfriend. I'm saying you have to change the dynamic. She's not the boss of you, even when things are pleasurable and nice. Because believe me, if I could be in the exact same physical condition, in the exact same financial condition, and all I had to do was lay around on my couch with beautiful women watching Netflix and getting blowjobs, believe me, I'd do that. But you can't. No. That isn't an option. So, don't let your girlfriend make you feel too comfortable, and just don't fall into the trap of enjoying it too much and enjoying the pleasure too much. Make room in your life for the discomfort.
Your special gift is you've mastered the art of not giving a fuck.
Yeah.
So what is that all about?
Well, I'd say it's not giving a fuck in the way that, because I know people who don't give a fuck. Their life sucks. They don't work out. They don't care about their own health, happiness, wealth, work. Not in a degenerate, I'm a bum kind of way. I'll give you a better example, because I know exactly what he means. I feel like, because I am his younger brother, every great general who sits at a table with his staff needs that one fearless guy with him. He needs people who preach prudence and being careful. And we have those people, believe me. They're very, very loud in our ears every single day since getting out of jail. But, if you're a great samurai general and you're sitting around the table, you also need that one guy who says, okay, there's 10,000 of them. There's 5 of us. Okay, let's just go. It's more fearlessness than not giving a fuck. If I had played things my way since getting out of jail, me and Andrew would probably be back in jail right now. I'm censoring myself on this podcast, but the first day I got out, I thought, you know what, screw it. Let me just put a camera on, just tell the whole world what's going on, and let them take me away live on stream. That's me. So luckily he keeps me in check, but also I feel like I can inspire him to make a few bolder and braver decisions in life because of my counsel. So I'm very much one of his councilmen, but he does need me at the table. Without that guy, you're just going to be a pussy,
When I was young and flat broke, because people will say, oh, you pay for the Ubers, or maybe I'll even get a girl a flight ticket to come to Bucharest, to come to my house and see me. And people will say, that's simping. I'm like, well, for the price of the flight ticket, you don't know what I'm getting. Right. But when I was young and broke, there was obviously no gold digging involved. I didn't have, I slept on a mattress on the floor. But if a girl was coming around to see me at night, I'd pay for her taxi. My last 5, 6, 7 pounds, because, it's 7 pounds and I get 8 hours of entertainment. Right. So, again, it's a very fair exchange of value. And I think that if you want to act tough and, hold frame and ask a girl to split a bill, or, make a girl pay for her own taxi and don't even offer, if she does go to bed with you, she's a low quality woman. She's just some dickhead hoe who will do anything for dick. Right. And some guys may get laid that way, but you certainly wouldn't with the quality of women that I hang out with.
Have you got any advice for 21-year-olds who, I guess, seem pretty lost and they don't really know which direction to go in? What would you offer to those guys in terms of advice?
Oh, I've got loads of pieces of advice. Loads. If you don't know what to do, don't go to university. Yeah. That's the first thing. If you know what you want to do and you need a university degree to do it, then obviously pursue that. If you don't know what you want to do, going to university is going to burn 3 or 4 years of your time and likely get you into a bunch of debt and a bunch of trouble that you don't need. If you don't know what you're doing, avoid university. Step number 1. 2, young men who are lost. What can I say? Don't waste
time.
Yeah, don't waste time on frivolous pursuits. Stop trying to live like the man unless you've actually become the man first. And that means women. Stop trying to get laid all the time and get beautiful women. Because if you are a nobody, the time and effort it's going to take into convincing a really beautiful woman to go to bed with you is much less time than it would take me or Mike, because we are a somebody already. So you're burning your hours. Don't chase women too much. Don't chase having fun too much. Don't chase clout too much. Don't try to be seen in cool places that you can't actually afford to be in. Dubai is actually a very interesting example of this. I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent here, but that's all good advice. It's simple. Dubai is a very good example of this because Dubai is a place where people can look like they're doing something big when they're doing absolutely nothing at all. Mm-hmm. There are hotels in Dubai, like the hotels I stay at, that are 1, 2, 3 grand a day, 10 grand a day. They do exist. And there are also hotels in Dubai up near the old town where, the laborers and the workers stay that cost $35, $40, $50 a day. That does happen. You can fly to Dubai, and people do this. Men do this with no money because men don't have the ability to just, hit dating apps in Dubai and live the good life. They come to Dubai with their friends. They have no money in their pockets. They have a nice shirt that they'll wear, fine. And they'll take a taxi from their really cheap hotel down to downtown, picture in front of the Burj Khalifa, click, picture in front of a Lamborghini, click. Now they're a guy with a picture in front of a Lamborghini in Dubai. They're a guy who hangs out in Dubai now. He's at the Burj Khalifa. He makes less than $1,000 a month, probably. People do this. They literally clout chase based on location. And that is the biggest waste of time. that I've ever heard of. You know, go on a vacation within your budget and have fun with your friends by all means, and take your mind off trying to be somebody. But yeah, people pretend too hard today, and the effort it takes to pretend short term will make you look richer or cooler or more successful than you are. But if you take all the time that you spend pretending and actually invest it into trying to become what you're pretending to be, you'll get there. Yeah. But it will take, again, 3, 4, 5 years, and people don't want to do it.
Dubai has everything. It's a wonderful place. The United Arab Emirates is a wonderful place. And Saudi Arabia has opened up recently. And give it 5, 6, 7 years, they've got the money. Saudi Arabia is going to have nice, clean, beautiful, pretty, safe cities that every millionaire or billionaire in the world can enjoy. And they can go there and enjoy the amenities and live their life without the threat of some psychopath on the subway trying to attack you. And then if you defend yourself, what happens to you? Maybe 20 years, we're about to find out. In 2 cases. It's sickening. So I think that and I'll give the credit to religion. I'll give the credit to the Islamic faith. They don't want that bullshit in their country. They don't want their kids being taught immorality in the schools. So if you want to have kids and you're a very busy man, maybe your wife's very busy too, and you want a comfortable environment where you know that your kids can go to school and learn things like math and history and geography. I know, crazy, right? Without drag queens reading stories to them, you can go to the Middle East and be assured of what's happening to your children, to your family, in your home, on your streets. I get the massive push. I get it. And there are different places in the world, like America was, hopefully will be again, but certainly was in the 70s and 80s, when people from even this country right here, which was a shithole back then, wanted to go to America, see the Statue of Liberty, come across on a boat, start a new life for themselves, live the American dream. I feel like the dream of the West is dying. And people are just like, well, where can I live the dream? What's the dream? Nice, happy life, beautiful wife, healthy kids, good health care,